Typhoons and cues, bears and legends. You are now tuned in to the Disney Holic Show.
Hello and welcome to the Disney Holic Show. That's Mike TV.
And that's Jen Diz.
We are making a splash at Typhoon Lagoon for a special after hours event. Then, diving into the latest from D23, including a spotlight series on Duffy and Friends and a magical lunch with Disney legend Jodie Benson. No? You're just gonna be
My
quiet?
goodness.
You're
My
just gonna be quiet?
goodness. So
Mike
we
has a lot to say, I
we
promise you
yeah,
guys.
we can't even get into this episode without talking about the news that just came out shortly before recording that we haven't talked about together yet.
Yeah, it's
It's a
cool.
me, Mario. No,
It's
it
me,
is
Mario.
I don't know, is Luigi gonna be there? Luigi's Tires. So we are talking about the new Cars uh themed area coming to Frontierland at Magic Kingdom Disney World. Disney officially released some concept art and more information on this new area coming to Frontierland, and it's got people talking. Reddit is talking, the fans are talking, people have thoughts and opinions, and I'm just excited. I like seeing progress. I like that the project is still happening and there's more concept art. And, just it feels like there's just like new announcements left and right, even if they're like tiny ones and big ones. But what are your initial thoughts on it? And then I can also like talk about what has changed, I guess.
So I haven't had time to really look, so I'm excited for you to tell me more about it also. But what I did see was it looked pretty like they adding a bunch of waterfalls, which looks really cool. I think there was like two sections of waterfalls, maybe. Am I right
Mm-hmm.
in that? I don't know. Um, and
At least
otherwise,
two. I see at least two, but there might be
okay.
like four when I'm looking
Oh
at
my
this.
gosh. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, and I think the most exciting part was that we're still keeping some of the rivers of America, which I think you had
Yay.
said, right? Was that your
Yeah. So back
prediction?
back in the first concept art when that was announced and shown, um, a lot of people, by people I mean like who knows who these people are on like Reddit that I'm talking with at 2 a.m. in the morning. But other Disney fans, or what I think are Disneyholics, everyone was making these assumptions that all of the rivers were going to be filled in and it would just be more land, like a big, almost like a landfill technically, even though it's fake river. But um I kept saying, no, I don't think so. And even in the concept art, it looked like maybe the land was filled, but it also looked so blue sky
Yeah, it
that
didn't look like
didn't,
they were showing the entire area. It was like the areas are going
yeah.
to be changing, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And like they probably didn't know yet the exact decision on that, maybe. And then I did an AI image. I gotta find it on Instagram of what it would look like if you were on one side of Rivers America, like, over by where there's really nothing, like across from Country Bears. It's just like a pier, wooden pier thing. If you were standing there and across the river, you saw a Jeep with eyes running past it with mud splashing. And it looked pretty cool. I gotta tell you, it like didn't look horrible. And I'd probably be looking, well, I gotta say, I do like looking at the island. I don't go there much. Is it called Tom Sawyer's Island there?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, I like looking at it, especially from the boat, and it's just nice scenery. So, it'd just be I guess, a change of scenery. I don't want to say that it should be replaced because that is still kind of sad.
Yeah, it is. I mean, but that part is getting replaced, right? So,
Yeah, yeah. But the waterfalls look nice, and they actually released more information than I expected from Disney, and they release it to like the bloggers and things. So people are posting very specific details coming straight from Disney. For example, the area is going to be called Piston Peak, very cute, And it's
Perfect.
going to be all about the characters from Cars. Not even all of them. There's new characters. Like there's this new Ranger character that I'm not familiar with. He's green. He has like a green Ranger hat. He's a truck. He has glasses. So cute. He's just cute. And they are coming to Frontierland to teach us about the national parks of America.
Oh, we're
And
getting some edutainment out of this?
edutainment,
Okay.
it's still within theme. So the way that I've heard some people describe it is they stretched it the way Pandora was stretched to fit into Animal Kingdom, which we don't
Okay.
really question anymore. It's like, oh yeah,
No.
that's Ace Centauri Expeditions, and you're going there to that, seeing those creatures.
Right.
So,
It's
uh, so
just
I
what we do.
yeah, they're trying to make it fit in, and then they're saying aesthetically, we love that word these days. It's gonna look a lot like what we see when we turn the corner around Condor Flats at DCA, like Grizzly River, all that.
Okay.
Very national parks, mountains,
Okay.
Rocky Mountains specifically. The Imagineers are spending time out there to look at the actual nature of Rocky Mountains because they chose Rocky Mountains because that has the most water out of all the American mountain ranges.
Ha.
So they did want to make sure water was part of it, keep it flowing. So yeah, I think this is what the best we could ask for if we had to have a say as Disney fans into a Cars thing coming, regardless, like it or not. So I'm excited just to see what's coming, and then if there's a new really cool e-ticket that comes out of it that you can't go to anywhere else. That's pretty cool,
You
also.
know what though? I'm gonna push back on you
Well,
because they could have just turned their stupid speedway into cars.
true, true. It would be a different theme for sure. It would be maybe
Yeah, get
back
rid
to
of that
Tomorrowland or
junk.
something.
Speedway junk. Who cares about that?
I would say
Sorry,
though,
my opinion.
no, I like this. I like this. The cars the weird thing about cars that always kind of gross me out is that they're alive. So I don't know if you could go sit inside and drive them versus I think the ones we ride, they're like taking us for a ride.
Okay, okay.
It's
What if they
really
were taking
weird.
us for an Autotopia ride on a
Yeah.
speedway?
You know who I would like
Big
at
fest.
Tomorrowland Speedway and Autopia, even though I know there's already too many cars. It's that other car, the old cartoon. It was blue. I think it was a girl car. And I think the eyes were on the headlights, not the windshield. It's an old
Blue?
Disney cartoon. Yeah.
What
It's
if they
just
had like all the Disney cars? Like they had the Roger Rabbit, Lenny also.
that's a
Benny?
good idea.
Lenny? Benny? Denny's?
Both. There's both. Benny's the main one, and then Lenny is the one that's I think on the ride that you ride.
That would have been cute.
That would be show all of them. And then I would say the thing that we should all be excited about with this announcement and concept art of Piston Peak is that you're now starting to see this transition that's going to happen after you walk past Haunted Mansion and you pass the entrance for whatever this Cars experience is going to be. It becomes more forestry and then more rocky because of Big Thunder Mountain, which means spooky, dark mountains and forests. The
That was going to be my
entrance
next question. How are they
to,
going to transition?
yep. It looks like this is all like ready and it's all planned. This looks like a very phase one of phase two concept art. We like specifics. I'm excited. I'm also curious about some of the surprises they might throw at us. So, for example, this is just throwing this out there. The Liberty Bell boat the in the concept art, the station is still there. So that part of the water is still there. It stretches out that far. And the waterfall, there's a huge waterfall behind it where the island used to be, which is going to be really breathtaking when you walk into Liberty Square. You'll see the big mountain with the waterfalls. But what if they keep the boat there and it's now one of the ones with eyeballs, like it has eyeballs?
Oh,
Oh no, you don't like it.
no. I was going such a different route with that. I was like, okay, they can park it like the Queen Mary, right? Queen Mary's just
Yeah,
always going to be there. Um, they park it and turn it into like a restaurant or something really cool.
I do
Like
like
they
that.
can like
They
have
should,
the water side with the
yeah.
waterfall and all that stuff.
They could move it to the far end, the way other side, closer to Tiana's, and have it
Hmm.
New Orleans boat
Yeah.
restaurant. They've done that at Disney Springs. One of those restaurants is an actual ship
Yep.
boat that's docked. All right, that'd be tight. And then
Tight.
one last thing, because I know we love, like real news from Disney, like details, park operations, marketing, branding. Something they released to all the bloggers was the mission of Frontierland, basically reminding the fans like this still fits in and it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
Disneyland. It's very different than Disneyland. I didn't know there was supposed to be such a big difference. And I guess like Paris has its own storyline as well. I've never been.
They have Western land there.
Western land. But what they're basically saying is Frontierland is like a wheel spoke, and each wedge represents something about the American frontier, and each wedge is supposed to be a folk tale. These are supposed to be about folk tales.
Oh, did they have one about talking cars in the American frontier?
No,
Did
they
they?
said
With eyeballs?
this is where it becomes even your favorite out of the bag phrases. So the
Oh
folk tales
God.
they kind of work, right? You got the haunted, spooky folk tales of what I didn't know was Hudson, New York. I guess I didn't realize
Oh,
that.
I didn't know that either.
The
Okay.
Haunted Mansion.
Wait, what's supposed to be Hudson?
Haunted
Oh, Haunted
Mansion.
Mansion. Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. Okay.
Upstate New York. I just keep thinking New Orleans because Disneyland. And then you go down to colonial America, President Hall of Presidents, Liberty Square. And then there's this other thing they call like the Rocky something. It's where Cars Land kind of would thematically fit, which that's like Country Bears and all that, and Davy Crockett and that. And then you have out of nowhere, it's called Southwest Frontier, which I think is just a restaurant at this point. Pecos Bill or something.
Pecos Bill, that's
Pecos
leading,
Bill,
isn't it?
right? Supposedly, it's still never. And then you have the New Orleans Frontier, Bayou Frontier, I guess, and Tiana's Folktale, and then you have Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, which they say is the Southwest. Again, they call it Southwest something else. So you could tell the Bayou messed up the spokes. But I think, like you said, just turn it into the Bayou or the other side, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then you go back around, and then you have the Cars one. So they're saying, yeah, each one is its own story. And when you get to learn about national parks with your favorite IP from Cars, you get to have your own folk tale.
Ah, okay, fine.
Really? You like that? I hate it. It reminds me of Galaxy's Edge. You're like your
I
Star
don't
Wars
love it, but
story.
I'm just like over it. Like, you know what?
Like, fine.
Well, you know what? That's exactly what I literally just said in my life. Fine. Um, what I realized though, like going through this conversation, is I just don't like cars. And that's another that comes back to like this new generation, right? Like Cars was a huge hit.
Yeah.
Like, and now all those people are like 20 years old,
Yeah.
right?
The
So like
toddlers that grew up with
it
it.
makes total sense for them to incorporate Cars. For me, Cars does not look like anything that I would ever think would fit into Disneyland because it just I don't know. It looks corny. It looks like a TV special to me or something. This is sounding so rude, but it's how I feel. It's how I feel.
Yeah. I do like
Um,
the aesthetic in general. Like
do you? I like Route
the
66 and stuff. I don't like the cars with the eyeballs and the mouths.
Oh, really? No,
And
I don't
the
mind. I don't
and
mind it.
especially like Lightning McQueen, like the race
Ka-chow!
car.
I
I
don't
don't
mind it.
know.
Mind you, I named my vehicle Benny and put Car's Eyes on him on his Instagram. So I do think that's cute. But no, I'm not a fan of the movies at all. I just think like the whole thing is cute, but I get it. Like especially the generation who is now having kids, like you said, are now showing them cars,
Yeah.
and you don't really have to it's easy to get what it is. It's like, hey, it's a talking car. So for like little babies, I guess it's cute.
Little babies.
Little
Yeah. No, I
babies.
guess a good move on Disney, just not for me. And that's
Yeah. And you
what
know what's cool
happens.
too is that
Fine.
they're what I love about it is like the improv around like how are you gonna make this fit? And then now hearing them tell us the details of what this room of people must have been like workshopping, like how the heck are we gonna get this to fit?
Yeah.
That part's fun to me. It reminds me of like a challenge.
You know what I just realized too? This is going to be very nitpicky, but I have to say it. The eyes are actually the thing I think that bother me the most, which is funny because you love it. But like when you think about Disneyland outside of Fantasyland, like everything is like there's nothing that looks like that, like a cartoon, right? Like think about New Orleans Square. Like pirates, they don't look like a cartoon necessarily. Like Haunted Mansion, um, like you go over to
Splash
Tomorrowland, like
Mountain.
nothing looks like
Oops, not Splash Mountain. I mean Tiana's.
Tiana's okay, fair, but it's also like
But
not
it's also a
outside.
modern. It's a CG cartoon. I guess you have like Astro Blasters. It is
And
weird too when
it's
it's
not
the
on the
new
outside.
era.
Does that make sense? Like you can't see it while you're walking around. You have to go into the experience to get to
Oh,
that. Like
yeah.
walking through Disneyland and seeing like a Cars character out just seems like alarming for some reason. I feel like Disneyland is all tucked in its little
Yeah.
homes.
I think I remember when they added Galaxy's Edge to Disneyland. I still think it doesn't fit, but I'm glad it's out. Like it's like you go somewhere else to get there, like a
Yeah,
port. It's like a
yeah,
portal. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah,
Oops,
Magic Kingdom
epic.
2, I just don't care as much about, even though I get them confused and I'm more of a Disney World person these days. I don't I don't care so much about it as Disneyland. Like it
Yeah,
doesn't seem
yeah.
as sacred. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay,
I get
fine.
you.
We get a new area, whatever.
Yeah, it'll be fine. We'll end up liking it probably, and then I'll eat my words. So here we go.
Words.
Eat my words. Well, any other thoughts on the Cars news?
Oh boy. No, more excited for Villains Land because this means we're like halfway there
I
in
know.
terms of
Yeah, that
concept
is.
art and stuff,
I am
project.
excited about Villains Land. See, that one to
Yep.
me fits. That one feels like okay. It's pretty cool, even though it's like
Yep.
a dark. I mean, I guess
And
Fantasyland
waiting
has,
forever. We've been waiting decades.
right?
Decades.
Ugh, good. Well, back over at Disneyland, I just wanted to mention this one thing that I just thought was kind of cool. They have a Magic Key experience. It's already over now. It was a short period of time, but it's usually like, Magic Key holders get like a giveaway every so often. Like, here's a tote bag or here's some sunglasses or whatever the giveaway was. This time it was a poster of Paint the Night and it's beautiful apps. I'm gonna frame it and put it on my wall. I love it. It's very cute.
Ooh.
It's like the black background with all the like pops of color. It's very, very cute. Um, but the cooler part was that it was a whole area. So it was in that area in front of Carthay, not Carthay, Hyperion in DCA.
Mhm.
That whole like courtyard was blocked off, and you go in there, and there was, let me see, one, two, three. There's three photo prop things. So there's one that just has like the Magic Key step and repeat background, and they have all these things you could hold up with like the signage and stuff to celebrate happy 70th anniversary, etc. And then there was a Pirates of the Caribbean um like facade that I think, and my roommate Fargo, shout out to her. I also think that she's on board with that, thinking this is the same one that you and I took pictures of at D23 a long time ago. Do you remember this? Like you're in
Oh,
the jail cell and you can stick your arm through the bars and the dog's over there with the keys.
they
So it was
do
very
do that.
cute.
Move those around, I think.
Yeah. So
Those
they had that there.
activations.
Activations. Oh my God, I can't even with that word. And then they had this teacup, like swirling Alice in Wonderland backdrop. Very cute. You could like do all these little fun photo ops. And then they had a photo booth also. That was an outside photo booth as well as an indoor one. And you get a strip of your pictures to
Ooh.
take home with you. Then on your way out, they give you one of those Mickey premium ice cream bars on the way out. And I
Ooh.
was just like, wow, I feel like, and I
I
was in
like
there
that.
for a while because the lines were long. And they did virtual queue. It was like it was done pretty well. Like I was actually really impressed with how much stuff you got out of it. Usually it's just waiting this long ass line to grab a tote bag and bounce, right? This time it was like you get to do all this stuff once you're in there, and all the cast members are like asking you questions about being a Magic Key holder, like how long have you been a Magic Key holder? Did you have an annual pass? Like it was cute. It was like
Oh,
kind of a
wow.
celebratory feel in there. So anyway,
So I need to get a
very
magic
cute.
key. If I had a magic key, would you be able to get it for me, like with a screenshot of my barcode or something?
Get what for you? Get the Paint the Night poster?
Yeah, like anytime there's a limited, because I want to get a magic key, but I feel like I'll miss out on some of the
Oh, I
quick
see what you're
things. Yeah.
saying. I don't think so. I would try.
Ooh, I'm trying to think. At Disney World, I think the magnet I could probably, if you had a pass, go back in line and scan it. I don't know if it shows the face. Whoops.
I don't know either. I don't know.
How funny.
And if they let you get two for one. And to be honest, I don't go to a lot of these things. So
Get those collectibles, girl.
I'm not going to stand in an hour-long line for a tote bag. I know most people would, not going to. But you know what? These ones that are unique like this one, I will stand in line for that one. So it's very cute. Also, that virtual queue entrance was super cool.
Love it.
Yeah. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that because I thought it was really cool how they went a little above and beyond this time for this one, and I hope it keeps up.
I'm seeing a lot of the above and beyond. I just earlier today saw somebody post a new window at Disneyland that was decorated for Pride, and it shows old like photos of historical women that were posing with other women at the time were obviously like lovers in that same classic Main Street style.
Mm-hmm.
So look out for that. I think that is so cool. Whoever
I
is
feel like they've done
making these
that
great
before.
decisions, let them let them pay attention to detail with this.
Please, thank you.
Let's see.
So we were talking about water earlier.
Yes.
Water in the rivers of America flows over to the lagoon and keeps the water pageant alive. What else is flowing over in Disney World?
At Disney World, I had a fun time at an event over the weekend. So this is like the kickoff to Gay Days over here in Orlando, and it's pretty huge over here and overwhelming. I think I'm only doing two of the maybe 20 events that there are.
Wow.
Um, and there's more than one organization. So there's like this first one that was called One Magical Weekend, which and disclaimer, this is all my opinion, okay? Uh, the One Magical Weekend group and brand and organizers, it's giving like gay cruise, it's giving like circuit party vibes. And then you have like Gay Days, which is, I believe it's officially branded as Gay Days. And that's the one with the red shirt. It's a lot more family friendly. Granted, there's still adult parties, but and a lot of it like takes place in the park through meetups.
Mhm.
And so all of that's happening between these two weekends. And I always wanted to try these Disney water parks at night. And
Yeah.
they offered an event that I believe was chartered by the One Magical Weekend group. But basically, it was a whole night, 18 and over, LGBT, but it was mostly gay men, I'll be completely honest. And it was called Riptide, and it was at Typhoon Lagoon, and it was from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m.,
Yes.
which is like the best
Amazing.
time, right?
Especially when it's hot in Florida.
Yep.
Oh, that's so good.
The weather was peak perfection for what we were doing. And I will also say it was nice to not have to worry about sunscreen and still do
Oh,
all the
yeah.
cool
I
stuff. Yeah, like
didn't even
all
think
the
about
things.
that.
And a lot of times at these water parks, the ground is burning hot when you're walking between slides. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh my
none of that.
gosh.
Everything just felt nice and cool and like refreshing. And they had party lights everywhere. They had DJs playing music. And this is where you could tell it was a gay event because there were just tables and tables of bartenders everywhere with red tablecloth. And the way that they managed the drinks, I thought were pretty cool because you would come in, you'd go through security and all that, you show your ticket, and then you would buy your drinks only in like a certain couple of places you could buy them. You buy like a drink coupon that's like it was like a full-on look hotel key textured card per drink. And so
Okay.
you pay for those in advance and you'd get the cards. That way the bar lines just moved so fast. You would just give them the card, you trade it for a drink. Love some efficiency.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And shout out to the Disney cast members. They were having so much fun at this freaking event. It reminds me again of when I go on cruises that are gay chartered, not even Disney, Royal Caribbean. They're just happy. Like the vibes are good. There's no kids. It's 18 and over.
Yep.
And people are just in a good mood. And, all adults getting tipsy, probably tipping well, all that kind of stuff. So they're in a good mood, literally dancing. The security guard dressed in the full, all black with the metal badge lady. She reminded me of Nurse Jackie. I forgot the
Oh my
actress name.
gosh.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
She was the one that you would see after you go through the metal detector. She was dancing the entire time. And so when you would go through, you could dance with her. Only like me and a couple people did because people were being shy or something. but she was so
Boo.
much fun, and it was such a nice way to enter. Like, okay, we're cool here, we're safe, all the things. And I think that's one of the things that I think are most important to talk about, especially around like Pride Month, is that these events are special and, they're sometimes very party focused, but there's these moments where, like, I have a friend who was there who told me his story. He was there with his new boyfriend, and he was able to, like, in the lagoon, the wave pool, like, they were just able to, like, hold each other and kiss a little bit and stuff like that, which most people might take for granted.
Yep.
Granted, public display of affection, whether you like it or not, is annoying, but it's different when someone gives you a glare on a regular park day to a straight
Hmm.
couple versus a glare if you were a gay couple doing it on a regular park day. You feel a little unsafe even. So just those little things are really magical. And then again, with the cast members having so much fun. In fact, I don't know if I should even tell this on the air because I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but we're on the lazy river, and
Uh-oh.
one of the cast members that are like stationed along like just like a no man's land area of the river had a High Noon in her hand, a can of High Noon
Woo,
vodka
girl.
seltzer. So perhaps I really don't see this happening, but perhaps there was some manager that said you guys could let loose. I don't know. That doesn't make any sense. Not even
Wait, she was
somebody by the water.
lifeguarding?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, no, that person should definitely not
And I
have been
didn't
drinking.
believe it when it was pointed out. And then I look and I'm like, oh my God, I have to say this on the podcast.
That's so funny.
Yeah. But yeah, granted that part was unsafe. I never felt like I was gonna drown again. We're all adults in there in the lazy river. But they were still being strict about some things, which I do appreciate. Like there were no drinks allowed in the pools of the lazy river, which I would have liked, but I could see other people are messy. I'm gonna say I'm not, but other people are. But I'm thinking like in Las Vegas and stuff, you can usually bring it into the swimming pool. They had all the rides open except maybe the kids' water play area. So there were no lines, mostly walk-ons. Even the one that's like the water coaster that normally is like a 45-minute wait. No, no wait. So what I noticed, and I
Heck
even
yeah.
said to my friend, I was like, hey, even if I wasn't part of the Riptide thing, I would probably just come on this night anyways, because it's more fun. There's music and there's no lines, and it's nighttime. So I think I am very glad I went, and I would highly recommend it to anybody, ally, gay, straight, man, woman. I would say more the merrier. There just happened to be a lot of gay men. Like I said, it's very advertised like a circuit party, but it didn't really feel like it. I would say there's big group dance floors on the beach, but you could just do a whole regular Typhoon Lagoon night if you wanted without even dealing with all that. And then everything in between. So they had all the brand new Disney Pride merchandise out, and I think it was like day two of that. So that was really cool. And then just hanging out with the cast members. And then they had most of the quick service restaurants open. So yeah, it was just an all around good night, and you could make of it what you wanted to. And I enjoyed it. And I think that's going to be my first of many Riptide events at Typhoon Lagoon.
Nice. Very
Yep.
nice.
There is one interesting thing that I thought I had to tell you specifically, Jendiz, is do you remember one time we were driving through Orlando and we tried to go to this food truck park,
Yes.
right? And
When it was
then
so hot.
it's so hot. It was so hot. We stepped out and then we walked back into the car, went somewhere else because it was so hot. So I finally went back there, and it was after this. It was like at 2:30 in the morning. We wanted to go to Denny's, so we mapped to Denny's, which happened to be right next to that food court thing,
Yep.
and it was still open, and it was pretty lively. I would say there was so many. I want to say it looked like at least 50 freaking trucks, 50.
What?
And about 20 were open at that time at 2:30.
Wow.
Um,
Was
so it
it
was
popular
fun.
as far as people there?
It didn't seem that crowded. It seemed like by the time we got there, these were mostly people who also either worked at these food trucks or you know how they have like hospitality nights at some bars. It felt like those people, like bartenders, servers, were all hanging out because it's
Gotcha.
2:30, which I
Yeah,
love
they all
that
just got
crowd.
off work. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was good energy and the food was good. We had this ramen version of birria tacos. What?
How was it wrong?
Yeah,
Okay,
it was so good. So we got
that's
two. It,
wild.
it came with a birria taco as usual, and then the dip that you would dip it in also had ramen, so you could finish the whole thing like a ramen.
Wow,
Yeah,
interesting. Okay.
it was pretty good. But I'm glad I finally checked it out. So it's a nice
That's
place. I would go back there.
that's crazy. I did not know. I think we must have looked at the wrong part of it because it didn't look like there was like 50 trucks,
Yeah, yeah. There's
right?
like a whole
That's funny.
parking lot too, like
Oh my
to
gosh.
get there. Yeah,
That's crazy. Well, I'm
good
glad you had
stuff.
fun. I also would go to a late night water park thing. It's like it sounds amazing,
Yeah,
especially in Florida where it's hot. Like night times are beautiful.
yeah. And like the Cheshire Cat moon was out. We had maybe
Aw.
like a good like 20 minute of random like rain, which was nice. And they are doing I think they're called H2O Glow after hours, Typhoon Lagoon, Disney official. You could buy tickets for it, but it's not 18 and over. That's the big difference. Yep. Yep.
I mean, sometimes like when I went to Pride Night at Disneyland, I've said this before, but it felt like an adults only night, even though it's not.
Yeah. I mean,
It's
it
just
is
like,
late too, so maybe less
yeah,
kids. Yeah.
yep, crazy. So,
Good stuff.
yeah, I guess like some of the, actually, most of the after hour events, I think, feel kind of adults only, but even more so during Pride Night.
So
So,
did Jollywood Nights when we went to that.
yeah, yeah, there's like hardly any kids, right? So,
That's
they
good.
should
So
just
like
change it to
put
adult
stuff that
only
doesn't
officially.
interest them. If it doesn't interest the kids, they won't go.
Yeah, and it's expensive, so it's kind of adult money style, right? You don't want to take your whole family to something like that. Like it's expensive, too much money for
Too
things that they
much.
won't be super interested in and be tired anyway, you know?
There you go.
Speaking of special events going on, D23 has been rocking and rolling with these events lately. It's like ramped up a lot, right? It's not just because I live closer or
I feel
we live closer to the
I
parks.
I think it's both.
Definitely both. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
But
I
there's
don't know if I
this,
would have traveled far for some of these, but since they're
oh, for
right
sure.
there, yeah, I'm like, yeah. And
For
that I'll
sure.
even pay for it because it's right there. So like, okay, we'll go.
Yep.
Yeah.
I do know that the spotlight events are new, and that started like right when both of us moved. So that's like really lucky timing on
Oh,
our side.
yeah.
And those are the ones that are more like talks, which we'll talk about here in a minute as well. But they have other events going on too in like kind of everywhere, but mostly near Disneyland and Disney World, right? So we've gone to a few recently, and I thought it would be fun to talk about some of these events and share what these look and feel like. And I have a deep dive on Duffy and Friends, which I know
Ooh.
everyone is so excited for, but we're gonna do it anyway. So let's start off with your event that you went to recently in Disney World called Lunch Conversation with Disney legend Jody Benson. What
Ooh.
was this like? First of all, like, I need to know. I don't even know anything about it. Where was it at? Oh, he's got, for those watching on YouTube, he has a D23 lunch with Jody Benson lanyard. Very
Lanyard.
cool. Oh, I
So
need to go grab mine. Shoot.
it
Okay.
felt cool from the beginning because you would go check into this event in front of Epcot outside of the gates because they walk you in to where the event venue is inside of Epcot, meaning you didn't need a park ticket or a park reservation to attend the event as long as you purchased a ticket for the event, which I thought was cool. But guess what? I didn't read the fine print, so I was sitting in the sun waiting in Epcot, inside of Epcot, next
Oh
to the
no.
Seas Pavilion with like 2 minutes left before the threatening check-in time that you can't enter. And I'm like, where is everybody? And I'm like texting friend of the show, Nick, and he was late and he still got registered before me because I didn't know you're supposed to go to the front of the park. So that is just a reminder. Please read the fine print,
Yes.
people. I actually thought I made an assumption that there's no way they would say you don't have to have a park ticket and reservation. So I didn't even think that I had to be outside. Um, but the kicker is when I started at the beginning and the end, we're going to go everywhere in between. The kicker is at the end, the organizers effed up and they released us all out into Epcot.
What?
Yeah.
That's an amazing. Wait, are you sure they messed up or they're just like, you know
No,
what, we can, let's do it.
they definitely messed up because they were
Uh,
they were saying so many times at the end of this event, we're going to walk you back in the line, to the exit of the park together, blah blah blah. So Not that it mattered because the three of us all had a means of getting in, either an annual pass or a blue card or whatever it's called. So, but I don't know. I just thought that was funny, and I know you would think that's funny.
That is
Now,
heck funny.
the actual event was so I thought was well thought out in terms of theming. So they set it at the Seas Pavilion, and it was in the sort of reserved dining ballroom area of the restaurant next door that I think I just recently reviewed. And so it's there. And so that means when you're eating at this event space, you still have those wall to ceiling glass aquarium windows. And you could
Okay.
see the fish swimming by and the little turtle. I saw a turtle swim by,
Aw.
and it's all in there. And so there's, like 10 seater tables, banquet style around. It's kind of giving conference a little bit. I didn't like the lighting. The lighting was pretty bad. For example, some tables were just like completely dark, including ours, and the lighting where she sat was completely dark. And like I was like, "Come on, people."
Like we're all
Anyways,
here to stare at her,
yeah,
so
we're like- but the reason why that's okay is because she came around to every table and spent a few minutes at each table and said
that's
hi to
so
all of
cute.
us. She took a group picture with the table, and then when she went on the in the front in the dark to tell her stories,
In the
she
dark.
she answered a lot of Q&A from the audience, which was really
Oh,
nice.
brave.
Um,
Okay.
there was a very nice gentleman who was from the archives, the Disney archives, who was facilitating and moderating the event, asking her some of the Disney questions. And what's really cool about Jodie Benson is you could tell, I mean, she literally says it over and over how many years she's been Ariel, but she does it in a way that it still sounds like she is excited to talk to you about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
Just
girl, I know
like
you've been
Margaret
doing this
Carey,
thousands.
she was Tinkerbell and she
Oh my
still is so
gosh.
excited about being Tinkerbell. It's the cutest thing. Oh
Wow.
my God.
Also, get that paycheck,
Girl,
Jody. Get the paycheck, Jody.
that's right.
And I will say there were so many questions and answers that I'm only going to bring one to the podcast that is my favorite because I
Okay.
do feel like some of the other ones have been either asked before or the other stories she told we've probably heard at like D23. 'Cause she did talk
Yeah.
about the usual things like how she got the role and Broadway and working with Howard Ashman. Really great stories, tear jerkers. But my favorite thing was when a question was asked about um uh, recasting voice actors and how that works. And she lit up. She seemed excited to talk about this. And this is pure like human resources back end operations that I don't think she's even supposed to talk about. So Jodie Benson, voice of Ariel, Little Mermaid, was telling us that first of all, they have a whole department that she's part of. It's called Character Voice something. Ooh, I forgot the acronym. And but it's specific to people who are the talent behind these voices and who manages them. And she goes, every once in a while they'll do what's called a refreshment. And I
Uh-oh.
and I was like, oh my God, I love that. Like that word is so like trying to sugarcoat something bad, like
Right.
layoffs or something.
Ouch.
So yeah, they called it a refreshment and they do it every few years. And then they go and they look at the major voices, the princesses, the characters, the ones who still do commercials or rides or whatever. And it's almost like a re-auditioning. And you either get to be refreshed, your character is refreshed because you're supposed to be your best friend's character, right? So Ariel got refreshed, let's say, by this other person and yada yada. So that's how they do it. So she told us all about that. And she says it happens all the time and she is always waiting for hers and she's fine with it and she knows it's part of the process. And she also talked about the alternate Ariels, the other Ariels like Halle Bailey, and all the ones that play Ariel on Broadway, and then also at Hollywood Studios. So she's saying those are all completely different. That's like Disney theatrical, that's Disney Studios. The actual characters who voice the ones you know, the red-headed Ariel cartoon that might need to appear on like a Hasbro commercial for a toy or something.
Oh, right.
Um, because these are working actors. They're doing these voiceovers all the time. And she said they called her and this was kind of recently, but I think within the last 10 years or something. She said they called and she knew it was going to be the phone call. She said, "This is it. I'm accepting it. I've done what like
Oh
30 plus years at that point of it."
no.
And
Right.
then when the head of that division called her, he said, "We're making you a Disney legend."
Oh my
Yeah. So
God.
during what she thought was going to be a refresher for her, refreshment,
Oh,
she was made a Disney legend. And she said, she seems so humble, like honestly. She said she really did feel bad right away because there's a team behind Little Mermaid and even just Ariel. So she's like, wait, these people haven't even been inducted yet, or this person, or the original
yeah.
animator. So I like that. I like that there's like a camaraderie around that. And she also said there's a text message group thread with the princesses in real life. Yeah. Um,
Oh my God, that just choked me up literally.
Choke you
What?
up. It's so cool. It's not all of them. She named them. It's like Anika Noni Rose. So it's Tiana, it's Belle, it's Jasmine, and Pocahontas, Judy
Oh
Collin,
my
I
God,
think.
I love
Yeah.
that. I
It's not all of
love
them because
that.
someone specifically asked, is Mandy Moore in that? Who's Rapunzel in Tangled, and she said, no, she's not. But she met Mandy Moore during the Wreck-It Ralph 2 premiere.
Oh
Remember, they all had to
yeah.
come. So apparently, they recorded most of those voices separately when they showed up as Disney character princesses in the movie. But for the promotions and the marketing and the red carpet, they got to meet each other. And she said they're just both so starstruck. Like Mandy was starstruck. She was like, "You're Ariel. I can't believe it. I grew up with you." And she's like, "But you're Mandy Moore. You're like a pop star." Blah blah blah.
That's great. Oh my
So
God.
cute. And just one of those reasons why you got to attend these events because sometimes they might get a question or tell a story that they're even more excited to tell because they don't get to talk about it that often. And you get like
Right.
this little gold nugget. So those were a couple that I brought back from that event. And then we also did get to leave with a full belly because they did have a lunch buffet. We also received the lanyard that I was showing earlier. And then we got this really beautiful compact disc. I'm laughing in sarcasm because I don't
You
have a
should
CD
laugh.
player, but it is very nice looking.
They should have given you a vinyl because at least people,
Ooh,
you know
I
what I
would
mean?
have
You could
loved
frame it and
it. Oh
stuff. Yeah.
shoot, I would have loved a vinyl. But it is one of these like premium package Disney Legacy
Oh, that's pretty. Okay.
um art book CD. Like it has a full
Oh,
on,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. Still
And
could
it's
have done that
nice
with
like
vinyl, but okay.
cardboard, and of course autographed by Ariel herself, Jodie
That's
Benson.
awesome.
But I don't have a CD player, but it's a beautiful thing. It looks like a book, so I'll just put it with my little books.
Yeah, somewhere to keep that, frame it or something. That's it's pretty.
Good times, D23 Gold members.
Cute. Yeah, D23 Gold member is like paying off lately. And I did talk about the Indiana Jones event before,
Oh
and then
yeah.
recently I went back to the Imagineering Studios, which I feel like was so close to each other, like only like a few weeks apart or something. I'm
Which
already
one
back
was
there again.
directing at Disney? Was that one?
Directing at Disney. Directing at
I
Disney.
feel like you did one too where it was about like the different
Oh, that was
director.
at, wait, directing at Disney. Was that at WonderCon? That was at
Oh, so it
WonderCon.
might not have been D23. I see.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but yeah, so the event I went to recently was Duffy and Friends related. And
Ooh.
the first one, okay, so like obviously the Spotlight series I'm very interested in because it's just like a D23 panel, right? So we're talking about we love it, we love to hear it, deep dives, rabbit holes, like we're all for it. The first one being about Indiana Jones Adventure, the actual attraction, not just the movies. I was like so stoked, right? And then the second Spotlight series got announced, Duffy and Friends. And I was like, um, uh, like I couldn't even make up my mind if I wanted to go. And then even funnier, I went ahead and bought a ticket because I'm like, you know what? I don't know anything about Duffy and Friends. If anywhere that I'm going to learn about Duffy and Friends, this would be the best place. The people that created Duffy and Friends are going to tell me straight to my face what's going on with these
Yeah.
characters and what the story is. And then I was like madly trying to find someone to go with me. Nobody wanted to go. So, however, it sold out super fast again. They only have two panels that they do, and I think it's probably like a couple hundred people seating in there at most, maybe even like 150 at max or something. I'm so bad at like figuring out how many people are in a room, you know what I mean? But it's not a lot. So the tickets went very quickly, and this was the
Well,
brief
good you
little.
didn't hesitate. You just got it then.
I
That's
just
good.
got it. Yep, I just got it. So Duffy and Friends, it said, celebrate 20 years of Duffy and Friends with Walt Disney Imagineering and D23. Join us for a special panel, exclusive shopping, and the chance to visit the Walt Disney Imagineering Preview Center. Guests are invited to don their favorite Duffy and Friends accessories and bring their plush friends to create a heartwarming memory together. So they're like trying to get you in the spirit, like dress up, let's do this. Like it's kind
Yeah.
of cute, right? I had no Duffy things to wear, so that was out. However, I still showed up and I have to say, I loved it. I like
Oh,
really,
good.
I just loved it. So, it started like there's two sessions you could pick. One starts with shopping, one starts at the panel, right? Mine started with the panel, and I got to like sit in this room with all these Imagineers telling us about something I have no idea what I'm talking about. And how often does that happen for us Disney holics? Not that
Pretty
often,
rare. Yeah.
right? So like super cool. Now, I'm gonna ask you, Mike, what do you know about Duffy and Friends?
I will say I know probably more than I should. Granted that I have only gone to like Tokyo Disney once, and that's where it's pretty popular. But what I do know is that it's now like a full-on line. So there's Duffy, and then he has friends. I know a little bit about his turtle friend specifically named Olumel because I got to meet him at Disney Alani. He's the mascot there. Some other things I know about Duffy is that his face is a hidden Mickey or a Mickey. I think it's hidden because you do have to point it out.
Yep.
And I do remember, and I want to say this is from an episode we probably did hundreds of episodes ago, which is wild. Where we talked about Minnie giving Duffy to Mickey Mouse as a gift as he goes sailing or something like that. Like we brushed
Hmm.
on that topic a long time ago.
Yep. Yep.
Um,
Totally.
and I would say that's kind of the extent in terms of like how he impacts the real world. I remember they tried to make him a thing at DCA a long time ago, maybe 15 years ago. And then he's very popular in Japan and Aulani. And I heard that the 70th Disneyland is the kickoff for Duffy and Friends becoming big again in California. So yeah, that's my knowledge of Duffy and Friends.
Okay, well, see, you know enough. You knew more than I knew going into it. I did not know the origin story, which I'll talk a little bit more in this as I deep dive a little bit more. But to start off, the panelists on this panel were Trevor Rush. He's from Disney Live Entertainment, and costume producer. Then we had Show King, Show King Chen. Sorry, he's a senior concept designer of Walt Disney Imagineering. We had Charlie Watanabe. I should have practiced these names before I started
Okay.
running off on him. Duffy and Friends creative lead in Walt Disney Imagineering. We had Laura West, who's a concept design lead for Duffy and Friends in Imagineering, and Eva Lee, who's a senior manager of franchise planning for Duffy and Friends. So we learned a whole scope of Duffy and Friends. We learned how they got started, about the creation. We learned about how they've moved and like their trends and popularity throughout the parks. We learned about their impact on people, as well as like where are they now and what is the future of Duffy and Friends. So I'll just say real quick, the future, they did bring them in for the 70th anniversary. They kick off the cavalcade that goes down the parade route. And they are also going to be on the Disney Treasure, if not already. So you can
Wow.
visit Duffy and Friends.
I
There's a lot
like
of
that.
places, and some of the Asia parks, not just I can't remember if it's all three of them, but I know they're in Hong Kong and Tokyo for sure.
Probably
So
that makes sense. Yeah.
yep,
I love this journey for Duffy and his friends.
I know. Okay, so
Celebrate happy.
um,
Come hang out with us at the 70th.
right. Totally. So again, like I didn't know anything about them going into this. But I have to say, like, Duffy and Friends are so wholesome. Like just so wholesome, and it was so cute. I think I cried like three times during the panel. Was not expecting any emotions that day. It was just so sweet, and I was just feeling it. I was just like, "Oh my gosh, how cute are these little characters and the messages they're putting out, right?" So they kicked off the entire panel with a short, and it's called Spring Surprise. And if any of you want to pause and go watch it real quick, it's I think probably like 7 minutes, 8 minutes long, something, and you could come right back to this, and I'll talk about it here. But um, if you get a chance later, check it out. It's on all the things. You can find it pretty easily
Spring
uh,
what?
online. It's called Spring Surprise.
Spring surprise.
Yep. And for those of you who cannot watch it right now, at least, I'll describe it. So, at the beginning, I think it was somebody's birthday party, if I remember correctly. But they're all painting, like all it's Duffy and all the friends. There's only six Duffy and friends at the time, and they were painting on balloons, right? They got like this art project to do, and they're all drawing their own self-portrait on their balloons, like painting them, right? So now they have these cute little balloons with their portraits, and they're walking out outside afterwards with their own little balloons. It's very cute. All of a sudden, Olamel falls into a pit, right? So now we have the
Oh.
drama of every Disney story possible, right? You have to have the drama in the middle. So he falls into a pit, and all the friends are crowding around, like, "Oh no, how can we help get you out?" They don't use words, by the way, at least in this short.
Oh.
So it's all acted, and it's stop motion, very freaking cute.
What? I didn't
Yep,
know that.
yep. This one was. I don't know if all of them are, but this one was.
So cute.
And so what they ended up doing was giving all of their balloons. They collected their little friends' balloons and passed them down to Olamel by, I think they tied a rock to it and put it in the hole. Olamel unties it and he gets the balloons and it starts pulling him up in the air, right? And he's floating up and he only gets so far. And then he realizes that his own balloon had gotten stuck halfway down. And he ends up
Oh.
grabbing his balloon out and then he's able to fly up to the top. So, with that said, wait, one more piece. After they get out, they're all celebrating and then they hand their balloons out again. And now they're trotting off into the sunset together. And none of them are holding their own balloon anymore. They're all holding each other's. And
Oh.
the moral of the story
So
here is that
cute.
friends are extremely important in solving problems, but you are truly still need to rely on yourself. And life is better with friends. And like it's so cute. So it's just like
Oh.
this whole little cute morale story and like showing how important friendship is. And it was just so adorable.
And it's nice when there's no dialogue needed because then it translates to anything, right? It's just
For
visual.
sure. Yep. Yep.
Oh,
Absolutely.
that's so cute. That is so
So
cute.
cute. It was very cute.
I'm picturing little Olomel turtle with the balloons.
He was all distressed in that hole in the ground, and they're like, "Oh my gosh, it was so cute." So I had a trivia piece here, and I was going to ask you who
Ooh.
created Duffy, but you already answered that because you're a boss. So the answer is Minnie, and
Minnie.
I think this was like when they were trying to promote more stuff for their cruise line because Mickey
Oh.
at this time was a sailor, and that was his main
Uh-huh.
job. He was on Cape Cod, which I didn't even
Wow.
know. Is that one of the spots for Disney cruises?
No, that's way up in the Northeast.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he's at Cape Cod, but he's there and he's a sailor. And Minnie, he's about to go on this big voyage. And so Minnie
Ooh.
creates this little teddy bear for him to have comfort to take around with him. So that's like kind of where it all started. And one of the background stories of why they decided to make Duffy like a teddy bear actually came from Imagineer named Shoking Chen and he kind of led the conversation. Like he was like the one that like was there since the beginning and he just knew all the Duffy stuff. So he like definitely ran the conversation a lot. But he had been listening to a lot of psychological evaluations and psychologists report on like what makes people happy and comforted, right? And there's this one South African psychologist that he follows that said, like, when we struggle with something, like in life, like anxiety or any type of depression or anything, they've reported back that in studies, like something warm that you can touch that's like tangible and like soft and squishy is like releases the most oxytocin possible. So
Oh,
like teddy bear, right? That's
so
why all of
cute.
us love teddy bears so much when we're kids and little stuffed animals because they really have that exact element to like what our body reacts to, right? It's
Oh,
very cool.
what
So he's
stuffed
like,
animals did you have? Do you remember? Or to stuffed
"Oh my
toys?
God, I had my Figment doll. Do you remember that beat up
What?
Figment doll I have?"
Aw. And it's
His
Disney.
whole
That's
back
good.
has
That's
come
really good.
unsewn because I loved him so much, and he has like stuffing popping out. And I have him on one of my display shelves now. He just kind of hangs out. How about you?
I had a few different ones. The one that I remember that had the most wear and tear, E.T. It was like I remember
Stop.
the
That's
way
so
it
cute.
felt too. Like it was almost like pleathery. Do you remember this toy?
Right?
Yeah. And the stitches would come off and then it would start to come apart. And it had the long neck. Yeah, I remember that one. Oh, it's cute. And then I had a big Saint Bernard dog stuffed animal that in my mind was real for the longest time.
Oh my God. Do you remember? I think it was a cartoon also called The Wrinkles.
It
Do you
sounds
remember this?
familiar.
I
Oh,
totally forgot about
they're
this.
the dogs with the droopy faces.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the droop. Yeah. I had a big stuffed animal of that, and I
Oh.
love that thing. I would just squish it all day long. Oh my God. So that was another one. I think those are my main two. But
Okay,
yeah,
so now
Finn is a travel buddy for sure.
any newborns that come into our lives, we have to give them Duffy.
Yes. Ah,
Make them
okay.
Duffy fans.
That is so cute. Okay. I am so gonna do that. Although I don't know how many more babies are gonna be coming into my life at
Same.
this point. Grandkids, grandkids.
Grandkids.
When Nicole shout out her kids have kids, we'll be getting them Duffy dolls. There we go.
Bam.
No pressure, Raquel. Anyways, so after he heard that, he was like, I know what I need to make now because this is exactly what I want to do is some kind of new thing at Disney that we can give people that calm, soothing feel, and it's going to be a teddy bear. And so that's how Duffy came about. So freaking cute. Um, and another thing to mention about the Duffy universe, there's no magic or fantasy in it.
Oh. You mean
I guess the
aside from
fact
what
that
it
they
is
are
itself? Yeah.
moving, yeah, like they
That
don't
makes sense.
like
Like Winnie the Pooh doesn't have like any magic or fantasy. It's just the characters.
right. He just talks. That's like the magic of him, talks and
Yeah.
walks. But yeah, he's not like he doesn't have any spells to toss or anything like
Spells.
too big and like too big to understand. It's just like regular life stuff, right? So they're very grounded and they tell stories that we can all relate to, which is really cool. I did not know that about them either. And one last thing about that short, I should have mentioned this earlier, but they had seven butterflies that kept following Duffy and friends around, and the
Oh,
fans freaking caught it, which I love. The Duffy fans are hardcore, and they're like,
wow.
"Why are there seven butterflies? Are they about to announce a new friend?" And sure enough, they were, and they used that butterfly in a future short to announce their newest cast member, the new friend of Duffy, and it's Luna Bell the fox. So
What? So she's the
super
seventh
cute.
of
She's the
them?
seventh. Yep.
That's very cute. Okay, so you mentioned the fans who caught on. This is what I think is so fascinating about Duffy is there's an adult fan base because everything else you described about Duffy that we both think is cute are very much things that you'd see like with Winnie the Pooh or Teletubbies or like Daniel the Tiger, Jake and the Neverland Pirates. It's like kind of pre-K. So it's just
Yeah.
crazy that this caught on with adults. Wow.
Right. Right. They didn't talk about that all. I actually wish they had. But you're totally right. Even that short, it was very cute and it made me go, ah, but so do a lot of those things. But they don't really teach me anything because I already, hopefully, we all already know
Right. Yeah, yeah.
that
The lessons
all
being
these
taught.
morals, right? We've all learned
Sesame
these lessons
Street.
already.
We had our own. We had Sesame Street. We had
Hmm.
Fraggle Rock. We had a lot of good things.
Yeah. I don't know that Fraggle Rock was teaching us much of that, but
What? Oh, that was all about friendship.
did they have like good big morals and stuff? I can't
They did,
remember. I
remember?
just
And
remember
then they
being
would have to
crazy.
like there was always like the upper the earth dwellers versus the underdwellers and I don't know.
Right. I have to watch it again. It's
Yeah.
been a long time. Um, so yeah, I don't know how it caught on. But evidently adults need comfort too. Just go with
Yay.
that.
That's cute.
So another thing they did in this panel was they described these characters, which I thought was really cool. Again, not knowing anything about them. So they said like their what their name is, what kind of animal they are, and what their like strengths are, right? So Duffy's a bear, and he's the embodiment of total ultimate innocence. How cute, right?
That
He's just
makes
supposed to be
sense.
like the perfect little childlike character that's just so wholesome. And that reminded me of Mickey Mouse, right? He's like the Mickey Mouse of Duffy and Friends. Like
Oh,
he kind of runs the show
yeah.
and he's just like
Oh, of the
total
friend
perfect
group. I see
innocence.
what you
Yep.
mean. Yeah.
hmm
And you said he doesn't talk or he does?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Not in this short. And I've
Okay.
never seen them talk, so I don't think so. I think it's all silent, but I can't say that for a fact because I haven't. I became a fan of Duffy and Friends in a way after this, but I still have not gone to seek them out. So there's
Wow,
that
but
to be
one
said.
new fan that adds to his fan club.
I mean, we're already, signing up to buy merch for kids. So there's that too. So the next one to come around was Shelly Mae the Bear. And they wanted us to know very much so that Shelly Mae is not Duffy's girlfriend. Not.
Gasp. I thought she was.
She is not. She's not his wifey, his girlfriend. She's
What?
just
Is she just
there.
hoeing around Duffy Land or what?
She's
She doesn't
She
want to
gets
commit?
around with all the friends, all other five of them. No,
Oh,
she is
wow.
an independent woman. She's adventurous, crafty, and loves to create gifts for her friends.
Well, and they say woman.
No, I did.
Oh, okay. The reason why I asked that is because there's been a lot of like talk about Hello Kitty, who this also reminds me of the Sanrio stuff.
hmm
About how Hello Kitty is a human girl. Do you know? It's a weird
Oh,
tangent,
yes,
but yeah.
yes. I don't know what's going on with that.
So I thought they maybe
It's
really said
confusing.
woman to let us know.
Nope, I did.
Shelley
They
May,
did
they're
say she's
adults.
independent, but I threw in
Yeah.
the independent woman part because you were talking
I
about her
do wonder,
hoeing
like, yeah.
around a minute ago.
Are they kids or grown-ups? Who knows? I don't know if they talk about that.
I think they're supposed to be kids.
Oh, oh yeah,
Yeah,
the innocence part. That makes sense.
yeah. Then Gelatoni is an artist cat, and Gelatoni can see beauty in everything he sees. So cute.
Oh,
He's also the funny guy in the group. So everybody loves Gelatoni. You need a Gelatoni in your friend group, right? Stella Lou, she's a bunny. She wants to be a dancer and she's very determined and driven. However, she does fail a lot, but she tries and tries again. Like she will not give up. She's so determined.
oh, I
So
like
you get
that.
to see her kind of fumble around a little bit, and she's not scared to try again, which is very cool.
Stella Lou the bunny.
Stella Lulu, the bunny. Cookie Ann is a dog. She's a chef, and she's inventive and able to combine two things that don't normally go together and somehow pull it off. She's able to create these unique, special foods or anything else that she gets her
Oh,
hands
wow.
on. But her main thing is that she's a chef. So we got a
Those are the
chef of
best
the
kind
group.
of surprise meals and bites is when there's a
Yeah.
two things that shouldn't go together.
I often order that off a menu when I'm like, what? How does this
Yeah.
work?
Like, because where
Like
else are
I,
you gonna get it?
I ordered the peanut butter and jelly burger from Lazy Dog once because I'm like, what do you mean? And it was very good.
Ooh,
Bomb.
that
Just
actually, yeah,
saying.
it sounds good. Sounds
It
good.
was very good. Your favorite, Olumel the turtle.
Oh,
He is a musician and one with nature, and he's able to hear music through nature.
that's so
Um,
cute.
yeah, and of course, music in real life also lifts people's spirits. So that is
Oh, I love
Olumel's
that. I think he plays
main.
a ukulele sometimes.
He does.
Something I didn't mention in my Alani trip report was I didn't even talk about the Magic Band experience that much, but that goes with what you're saying about seeing and hearing music and using it to lift people's spirits and hearing it wherever you are. Like you would walk by certain parts of the resort with your Magic Band and like it would go and like something would light up or like
Cute.
steam would come out of a cavern in the lazy river with but it always had a sound to it like a melody.
Hmm.
Oh, I don't know if that's related or not, but I'm gonna say it is. Olomel.
Let's just say it is. He probably can hear it at least.
Olomel hears it.
So cute. And then our seventh friend is Lena Bell. Luna Bell? Lena Bell. Luna?
So she's
Luna
the brand
Bell.
new one.
I think it's Luna Bell. She's brand new. She's a fox. She is a detective and she solves problems and mysteries. She's super intelligent but humble. Like she doesn't try to brag or be super cool, but she's like really, really smart. Also, she loses things a lot and then she's
Oh,
able to find them because she's a detective, which is hilarious. So she like
oh
solves her own problems
wow.
constantly.
I do
She
like
creates
a
and solves her own
fox.
problems.
Foxy, and you're right, it is Lena Bell. It's Lena.
Oh, it is Lena Bell. Okay.
Lena Bell. Yeah. Cute.
Yep. And I like how they all are not perfect. Like there's something about each of them that makes it more relatable, right? They're not like, "Oh, this guy's Superman and he can do all these crazy things that none of us will ever understand." It's like these all these characters have things that a lot of us either have the same traits or we know somebody that does. Like I can list all these people in my friend group. Like say,
Oh,
"Oh,
that's so
Mike is
cute.
the Olamel of the group or whatever."
They
You know,
could
I,
use it
I could
as
like
like a little
label them. Yep,
a gemstone zodiac type of thing. That's cute. I love that.
totally. One last thing I forgot to mention about Lena Bell, she has a magnifying glass and she keeps it to remind people that you can find happiness in everything if you look close enough. Stop!
I like that.
Stop! It's so
And it's so
cute.
Disney too. It's perfect.
So adorable. So one thing they do throughout the different shorts is they use all their traits and their strengths to like look at problems in different ways, which I love. That's like a big diversity thing, right?
Yeah.
That we learned through HR is like people have different experiences that lead them into taking, on situations and opportunities in different ways. And they do that a lot in the
Oh,
Duffy shorts.
that's so
So
I
it
do
teaches why that is strong.
at work all the time. I use the Avengers analogy just like that about
I
how you
love it.
need
Perfect. Yeah.
different heroes to come in with different experiences and powers.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. Oh, so Duffy for team building. I like this.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. But then you have to give everybody a Duffy bear too. So that'd be cute.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, so like that was the wrap on like Duffy and Friends background and their stories. And I just loved it. So I really wanted to share it with everybody. And I'm gonna end with like one last piece is that this panel I felt was so endearing. Like the Imagineers were sharing so much personal stuff with all of us. Like it wasn't just like, oh, here's Lena Bell and this is her story. It was like, here's Lena Bell, here's her strengths. Who here like does that resonate with or who here relates to Lena Bell the most? And they would like raise their hands and they'd talk about somehow in their personal life how they relate to these characters or whatever
I
it is. And they
love
would tell like
that.
personal stories, right? It was really cool. And it was just
Yeah.
like, oh my God, my heart every time I was like, oh my God, they're sharing so much like real life stuff, right? And with that said, I want to share one of the stories that literally probably made everybody in the audience cry. So, Shoking Chen again, the one I told you that was like he's like the one in the group. He was first of all, he was decorated fully in Olamel stuff. Like he loves Olamel.
Oh,
It was cute. So when they asked who your favorite is, he was just like, I mean, can
oh,
you take a
that's
guess?
cute.
But he shared this story. Oh my God. He was probably, I don't want to guess how old he is, but he's an older gentleman. And he was saying that his mother just recently passed away. And she was in a care facility where they had like, random little events and stuff happen um, to entertain and whatnot at this, like, I almost said old people home. What's the word I'm looking for?
Retirement home?
Sure, we'll just go with that. I don't know what to call it, but
Assisted
like
living
probably older than
facility.
that. Yeah, something
Assisted.
like assisted living more so. So picture that type of atmosphere, and then they all have lunch and they bring out a performer or something. So his mother was like getting to a point where she was pretty close to the end, and they all knew it, but um, and she wasn't doing too bad. She was still in high spirits. However, they had an
Crying already. You're crying
unscheduled
already.
they had an unscheduled ukulele player show up on this day. And they were
Wow.
about to turn him away, and then they just let him play because like he's there. It wasn't on the right day, but they let him play. He played his ukulele for all the people at the home. And when his mother heard him play, she started singing. And she hadn't like really talked much or sang in a little while.
Oh,
And oh my God, it's so ugh. One of the people who worked there was speaking with her and she just looked at them and said, I am happy. And later that night she passed
oh,
away.
wow.
Oh, stop
Wow.
it.
Wow.
And so like he
That's
in
good.
his lone way translated that like that was the spirit of Olamel, right? Like this thing that he's worked a lot on and like his creation and his mother absolutely is obsessed with it. And now this ukulele player randomly shows up the day his mother dies and like plays like what? And got her singing? Like that's
Wow.
So beautiful. And he's like,
Oh,
I get to live my life now knowing that when my mother passed away, she was happy. Like she literally told somebody she was happy. So
wow.
very sweet. And
Most
how
people don't get
personal
that.
is that story
Yeah.
with like
Most
hundreds of
families
people?
don't get to have something that special at
Oh
the
yeah,
end.
absolutely, right?
Wow.
Absolutely. So yeah, one last thing is the Duffy and Friends being so wholesome and so real. They mention like, nobody is perfect. We all have our gaps. And then we look to our friends to fill those gaps. And how often we do that with each other
Oh
all the
yeah.
time,
Oh yeah.
right? All the time. And that's why friendship is so important.
And that's how you make a
Yep.
good duo or trio or whatever the group is. Yeah, you
Yep.
need that. Oh, I love that.
So good, right?
Duffy.
Oh my God,
I do
Duffy.
have now a
I now
deeper
have a little,
appreciation for Duffy
yeah,
and Friends for
so
sure.
do
Yeah.
I.
I'm trying to figure out why maybe it threw me off before, other than the kids target that I thought it was for just kids, is as I'm looking at our wallpaper. So if you're on YouTube, you could see some images of Duffy and Friends. They are animated or drawn so differently than any Disney brand or Disney character style that it was for a while I didn't even know if it was Disney. I was like, oh, is this just like
Yeah,
another popular brand like Hello Kitty or something? So yeah, what a very unique panel to go to and find out stuff about these
yeah,
characters we didn't know much about.
it was very cool. So keep your eye on D23 if you guys live near the parks or if you are willing to travel for some of them and you happen to be in the parks or wherever they're having these panels and they have one going on. I would highly suggest it. It was really cool. It took like, I don't know, a couple hours of my time. That's it.
And you and
Maybe
you
3 or 4
just
hours.
might get accidentally released into the park, and if you don't have a ticket, that's a free
Right?
day for you.
Might get a free day of the park.
Free
Totally.
day. And giveaways.
Um,
We love giveaways. You get to keep some things
Oh yeah,
usually.
we got little postcards of all the short they showed that day. They showed this brand
Oh,
new concept art that day for the cruise line, and we got a copy of that. Like they first
wow.
released, right? So cool.
Very cool.
Um, and then speaking of like keep your eye open for these D23 spotlight events, I actually just went to one this past weekend again that we'll be talking about in a future episode. And that was called D23 Spotlight Series in Walt Disney Archives. And
Oh.
it's Walt Disney Archives' 55th anniversary celebration. And this is kind of cool. I thought maybe they were celebrating 55 because it's the year Disneyland opened. But what actually happened is they wanted to celebrate their 50th, but that was in the heat of COVID.
Oh.
2020, right? So they weren't celebrating any of that stuff. So they pushed off to the 55th. Um, so I went and enjoyed my time there, and you are going to be going to the one in Disney World,
Yes. So they
and
are
then we will
offering this
be reviewing
event
that one later.
at on both coasts, which is not usually a thing. So this is going to be really special.
Right, yeah. And I think there's still tickets available, if I'm not mistaken, for the Walt Disney World one. So if you are in the area, go check it out. Sometimes they're so quiet about these. Like
Yeah.
oh yeah, I'll just tell this story real fast. You had mentioned randomly on a work day, like 10 a.m. or something, like, oh, I'm at lunch with Jody Benson right now. I'm like, what? Like, what do you mean? What is this? You're like, it's a D23 event. And I was like, oh, yeah, I wonder if they're doing any more spotlight events. So I went and looked it up. And sure enough, they had this one for this coming weekend open. And I was like, what? So I went ahead and grabbed a ticket and it only let me buy one. It didn't let me buy two. Turns out it's because they're literally sold out. And I had my very last ticket I grabbed.
Wow.
So I got super lucky, but I went and searched my email and everything. I couldn't find it anywhere. It's not on their
Nothing, right?
Instagram.
Yeah.
It's not in my email. Just went live. I don't know how people are finding out about these things. Obviously, that people know because it's getting sold out. I'm not figuring out how to get the right notification. So get your notifications aligned. I need to as well.
Yes. I
And
would
come
like
hang out with us.
an official D23 push notification telling me that something
Please.
is available and I can go buy
Yeah, it
it.
wasn't even on their
Yeah.
stories or
Yep.
their just nowhere. So I'm like, how? I don't know where this was at, but nonetheless, that is coming up for you. So we'll save the details to conversate about later. It's kind of cool that we're on two different coasts and get to go to the same event. It's pretty cool. All right. So for today's episode, we talked about Typhoon Lagoon, partying it
Ooh.
up. We talked about the new Cars news that came out today for the new Piston Peak. Oh, I remembered it. Watch out.
Yeah.
And then we went down and talked about the D23 events, lunch of Jody Benson and Duffy and Friends Deep Dive. Wow.
Woo. Well, thank you all for listening. We hope you enjoyed episode 243 of the Disney Holics Show.
Follow us on social media at the Disneyholics.
And if you want to get in touch, send us a DM on Instagram or contact us at thedisneyholics.com.
Okay,
Okay, bye.
bye.